So if you didn't catch my last video, I recently moved all the way across the country to Los Angeles, California, and in today's video, we are going to be finishing up my preparation for the new set that I've been building. I had a whole video where I talked about the creation of this studio room that I'm going to be shooting my videos in, but today we're focusing on the desk because with this new location, having a desk actually in the background of my videos, I wanted to go all out. We are going to build the ultimate creative Apple Silicon workstation. So I thought it could be a fun video if we go through this together and I show you guys exactly what goes into building the ultimate creative workstation with Apple Silicon. I've got the $8,000 Mac Pro that I have been basically waiting for this moment to customize and modify and make it really fit in here. So let's get to building right after a word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Infinite Rabbit Hole's innovative new mixed reality game, The Arkham Asylum Files: Panic in Gotham City. It's a first-of-its-kind mixed reality game that blends real-world tabletop storytelling with state-of-the-art augmented reality. Play with your friends through numerous puzzles and mysteries in this epic new form of at-home entertainment. I had a ton of fun playing Panic in Gotham City with my friends. The free companion app is chock full of puzzle components and dozens of animated and live-action story scenes, an original score, and lots of twists and turns. The team is backed by folks who have worked on beloved theme attractions like the Indiana Jones Adventure at Disneyland and Men in Black: Alien Attack at Universal Orlando, and their expertise really shows in this innovative take on Gotham City, hosted by Harley Quinn, and a rich box of over 100 game pieces. And now you too can build Gotham City and experience why players rate this game 4.9 out of 5 stars. To learn more, check out the link in the description below. Today, a big thanks to Infinite Rabbit Holes for sponsoring, and now let's get back to the video. So as you would imagine, the first part of any desk setup is going to be the desk. And this one I debated for a really long time over because I wanted to get a really nice solid desk. I had bought a pretty cheap desk on Wayfair at my old place. It was not high quality and I definitely wanted to change. But I was looking around at stuff on like West Elm, for example, and nothing really stood out as offering exactly what I wanted. So I ended up getting these two IKEA Alex drawers in green. They were $110 each. And then the top is actually a butcher block veneer kitchen counter. A little unconventional, I know, but I actually really dig the look and it allowed me to get this really long desk surface with plenty of storage on both sides. And all in, price was about $400 with tax, so I have no complaints. Except for the fact that it has absolutely no cable management because it's literally a kitchen counter. And look, we don't need anything too fancy. I got this 2-pack of cable management trays off of Amazon. Let's just screw them on and call it a day, basically. The cable management trays look really sturdy, which is a good thing because there's going to be a lot of stuff on this desk. I use my editing rig to live stream my podcast Dark Mode every Sunday night. I also use it pretty often to record voiceover and to record sponsor segments. So we're gonna need this Elgato mounting arm with a Panasonic GH5, continuous power to the GH5, another Elgato arm with my key light on it, power to the key light, HDMI out connected to a Camlink 4K to get the video and audio signal to the Mac Pro, my Shure SM7B with a cloud lifter attached to it, an Elgato Wave mic arm to hold the SM7B, and finally this Anker docking station that I used to get some I/O on the desk. So it's a lot. There's a lot to go in here. And by the way, we haven't even talked about the monitors and the speakers. So yeah, let's get to wiring this stuff up and see how bad it looks. Okay, so things are looking pretty good here. We've got all of my podcasting and camera equipment mounted to the desk. Next up, we got to talk monitors. And this is a tricky spot because for the past year and a half, I have been using this studio display. And honestly, I've been a bit disappointed by the experience. Obviously, Apple's 5K 27-inch panel, well, it's actually LG's panel, but Apple's been using it for like 10 years now, and it's a great panel. It was amazing back in 2014 and back in 2017. and 2019. But now it's 2023, almost 2024. And quite honestly, a 27-inch panel just isn't gonna cut it for me. And that's a bummer because Apple doesn't really have any other reasonable options. I mean, the Studio Display is itself very, very expensive, but if I wanted something bigger, it's a Pro Display XDR, and I'm just not willing to spend that kind of money. Especially since for the past 2 years or so, I've gotten really used to a dual monitor setup. And coincidentally, a couple of weeks ago, BenQ sent me their 27-inch DesignView 4K monitors, which are designed specifically for creatives for an ad read. And after doing that ad for them, I was like, hey, wait a minute. This is a really nice display, and I very much enjoy using it. And wouldn't you know it, they have a 32-inch version. We're in business. Oh yeah, that's a big boy. That's exactly what I was looking for. Now, one of the things I really like about these BenQ DesignView monitors is they actually come with a personal color calibration report for your specific monitor. So if we look here, we can see that my average delta E is 0.2168. That's for this specific panel. And that really goes to show that they are serious about making sure that these monitors have ridiculously good color accuracy, which is something that I really depend on when doing video editing, of course. Now, one of my favorite parts about these monitors is the ergonomic arm. This thing just clamps onto your desk, nice and simple, and then you just kind of do that. There's a thumb screw and the display goes on here. It's so easy. Oh, and it has this super convenient cable management, so we should be able to get a pretty clean setup. So things are definitely starting to come together now. We've got a Mac Pro with a crap ton of storage. We've got two massive displays, and I was still able to fit my podcasting and video equipment on the desk as well. But we do have one more thing, and that's audio. So Edifier sent over these R1700 BTs, which look like some pretty darn good bookshelf speakers with Bluetooth capability. Let's go ahead and unbox them. Oh yeah. Oh, these look really good. I love that wood grain pattern on the side. And honestly, they're not gigantic, so I don't think they're going to completely dwarf my desk. Now, the specs on these things look pretty good. We've got 4-inch subs, it has mesh grills to protect your speaker drivers, Bluetooth support, and spatial audio. And they're pretty inexpensive. You can get these things for under $200, so I'll have that linked down below. Big thanks to Edifier for sending these over. Let's go ahead and hook them up. So for now, at least, this desk setup is complete, and honestly, I think it came out incredibly well. I was really hoping that I was gonna be able to get everything to fit on a desk, so I went for this massive 74-inch countertop, and you know what? I'm glad I did, because this looks incredible. We've got two side-by-side 32-inch 4K monitors, and there's still enough room on the desk to have the speakers on either ends, which means that we're not blocking the sound. And that might seem trivial, but that's not that easy to do when you have two 32-inch monitors in your desk setup. And I think this is really gonna help with my workflow because in the last 2 or so years, I've gotten really used to a dual monitor setup. I think it makes me a lot more productive. So let me show you how I take advantage of dual monitors for video editing. I like to have Final Cut Pro completely by itself on the right. I know some people like to break it out and have their viewer or their clips in a separate monitor, but I don't personally do it that way. I like to have Final Cut Pro all the way over there. And then on the left, what I'll typically have is Safari open. This is where I'm going to pull clips or something that I might need from the internet. I also keep my dock open here so I can grab stuff right out of my downloads and just drag it straight across, nice and easy. And then if I need to get a screenshot, I can just go ahead and do that like this. And then in my Finder windows, I'll keep open iCloud Drive. This is where I keep my branding so I can stick my video outro in if I need that, or I keep the desktop open because that's where I save screenshots and I can once again just drag those right across. So this kind of speeds up my workflow and allows me to take advantage of both of these monitors. And now with the extra size, it gives me a little bit more versatility. Now these are 4K displays, not 5K, so the scaling works a little bit differently. But if we go in here, you can see I set it to look basically like 2560 by 1440. So this isn't too different from how Apple's 5K displays scale, because Apple's 5K displays are 2560 by 1440 times 2. They just double the resolution on a 27-inch panel. So personally, I find that this scaling makes things look big but still spacious, because if you use the larger text option, I think it just makes everything look way too big and zoomed in. I don't need the text to be this large. I want more screen real estate. So that's why I set it to this setting at 32 inches. So anyway, I hope that gives you some clarity on how I use dual 32-inch monitors. So looking at this desk setup as a whole, I'm really happy with not only the aesthetic of it, because it needs to be in the background for most of my videos, but I'm also really happy with the value for money. You could recreate this desk setup with two 32-inch monitors, the bookshelf speakers, and the desk for about $2,000, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. Now obviously that doesn't factor in the cost of my Mac Pro, or the mouse and keyboard that you want to use, or the filming and podcasting equipment that I have on here as well. But as the general foundation for the desk, I'm really happy with the value for money here. That being said, there are going to be a number of things that I want to change in the future, mainly as upgrades to my editing rig and my podcasting setup. I want to get a Rodecaster. Right now, I'm basically running my video and audio through an Elgato capture card. That's not super ideal, but I was very constrained on space at my old setup, so I kind of just left it as is, and honestly, it works pretty well. But with this new setup, I really want to get a Rodecaster, and I want to run my video in through a PCIe capture card that should be a lot higher bitrate. And plus, I got to use up some PCIe lanes in that Mac Pro, am I right? And speaking of which, I need to utilize those PCIe lanes for storage, because right now I'm doing all of my editing on my 1 terabyte internal SSD and my 48 terabyte external RAID array. Now the thing's perfectly fast, right? Over Thunderbolt, we're getting about 1,000 megabytes per second read-write, but the problem is, as right now, if I have Final Cut Pro open in the background where it's not doing anything, the drives go to sleep, and it takes a while to kind of wake everything up again. So internal SSD, internal hard drives, I do want to kit out this Mac Pro. So let me know if you want to see an entire video where we just dive into the Mac Pro and upgrade it to the max. This is something that I've really meant to do for a while, but just haven't had time. Oh, and the final thing that I want to do for this desk setup is make my slat wall go all the way down to the ground. I have a little bit of a gap at the bottom, which isn't a big deal in most cases, but it does show up on camera, so I might have to address that. Anyway, apart from those little things or future concerns, I'm really happy with how this desk setup came out. And now I'm officially set up in my new studio space. You may have seen the previous video was actually shot here. I kind of shot things out of order, so you probably got a sneak peek at this desk setup. But everything is now complete. I'm ready to make new content in the new year, and I really hope that you guys are as excited as I am. Let me know what you think of the desk setup in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one.